Hello, hello, hello. This is V. Scott. Today we will be talking about Margaret Prescod, a black shero in my eyes. Here we go. Margaret Prescod is an activist, author, journalist, and radio host. She was a founder of the Black Coalition fighting back serial murders and of black women for wages for housework. Prescott is on the executive board of the Center for the Study of Racism, Social Justice, and Health at UCLA's Fielding School of Public Health. Prescod was born in Barbados and immigrated to the United States in 1962 as a teenager. Within her first 2 weeks of moving to the United States, she was on a picket line protesting a medical center in Brooklyn that would not employ black people. Prescod attended Long Island University for her undergraduate studies. She started a course at the Teachers College, Columbia University, but left to work in remedial teaching for adults. Prescod became increasingly active in the civil rights movement. In the early 1970s, Prescod started to focus her activism on initiatives that looked to improve the welfare of mothers. At the time she was working as a school teacher in New York City, she became involved with the United Nations and was part of the series of conferences that were part of the Decade for Women. She launched the International Black Women for Wages program with the Wilmot Brown in 1975. In 1980, she wrote Black Women Bringing It All Home, the first book to explore the relationship between women, immigration, and race. In 1985, she moved to Los Angeles, where she became involved with the Utility Workers of America. Prescod was involved with the Wages for Housework campaign and delivered evidence at both the Democratic and Republican Party annual conventions. In particular, Prescod looked to involve women's unwaged work in consideration of economic analysis. In 1986, Prescod founded the Black Coalition Fighting Back Serial Murders, which was established in response to the murder of 11 women in South Los Angeles. She was concerned with ensuring the coalition looked to encourage the police and policymakers to investigate the murders and not malign the victims. The organization wound down in the mid 1990s, but was restarted in 2008 when the serial killer returned. In 2014, her efforts were turned into a film by HBO, Tales of the Grim Sleeper, which was nominated for an Academy Award. She is presently the host and executive producer of Sojourner Truth radio show, which is broadcasted by KPFK and syndicated by radio stations WPFW, that's in Washington, D.C., and WBIA in New York City, named after the abolitionist and women's rights activist Sojourner Truth. So that is about Margaret Prescod right there. And I learned about Margaret Prescod, uh, unfortunately, through The Grim Sleeper. It wasn't because they made a film out of it, but I learned about her before the film was made, and I forget what the show is called. Uh, it's basically is a crime show, and so basically Margaret Prescod was the one who was in the forefront fighting for the ladies to get justice and for them to you know fight for these black women and find out who was murdering them. And it was hell for her. It was hell for her and the people that was working with her, the organization that she founded with the women. They were going to the police station. They were going to, I guess they were talking to the sheriff and all that. But it was just like, What they were saying was falling on deaf ears because it was black women. Then they were trying to accuse the ladies of being prostitutes, drug addicts, and all that. And it doesn't even matter if they were or if they weren't. The simple fact is they were people. You know what I mean? They were people, but because they were black, that's first of all. Because they were black, they didn't matter. Well, at least they thought they didn't matter. But Margaret kept fighting for justice for these women, and I am so happy that she continued to fight. And I love the way that she stood up to the I guess he was the sheriff, or I think he was the sheriff, or whatever, I don't even know, but I'm going to put the clip at the end, and how she just took the microphone and said what she had to say about everything, about how to stop calling these women prostitutes. Give them respect, because they are somebody's mom, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter. And who wants to look on TV and see their dead mom that's been murdered being called a damn prostitute? Now, that's me saying that, okay? Not Margaret, but I said that. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. So I am just so happy to be bringing Margaret to you all. She's been fighting for justice for black women for over 30 years, because this was in the 1980s. And I just want all of us to know that we definitely matter. We are excellent. We are beautiful human beings. And we don't have to take it. We can stand up together. We can stand up for each other. And we can stand up with each other. So don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. Don't be afraid to stand up for another sister. Don't be afraid to do those things, because together we are so much better. Now I'm going to tell you a story. And it's about myself. I when I was living in Maryland some years back, when the children were younger. So it was this crazy thing happening. It was a guy, he was beating up on this lady, and so she got out the car, he kicked her out the car, and everybody was just watching. And I just couldn't stand back and watch that. It was disgusting. You know what I mean? And so I'm getting the lady, and I'm like, come, are you okay? You can come with me. Do you need to basically come in the house and hide from him or whatever? So I'm over there with her trying to help this lady. The man come back down, and he going crazy, and I'm trying to keep her from going back with this crazy person. But she didn't listen. She still went back with him. And that still bothers me to this day, that she got back in that car with that man. I tried to talk her into not going back in the car with him, but she still went back in the car with him. But I can say that I did my part as a sister to her. I did my part as a mother. I did my part as a woman. And I did my part as a black woman to another black woman. And she was a young black woman. So I did my part to try to look out for her. I did my part. So don't turn your back when you see things happening to us. Don't turn your back, because it's not okay. It's not. It's just not okay to turn your back. Justice. Justice for us. I just felt like letting you all know about this amazing lady right here that's been fighting for justice for us for so many years. And there's many, many others that's fighting for justice for us as black women, because we as black women do not really get justice as we should. We are not treated. We are the most disrespected. We really are. Like Malcolm X said, you already know what he said. The black woman is the most disrespected. And that is true. That is actually true. I experienced some hate from a black male in my teenage years. And it was for no reason. I was walking with my cousin. We were walking to the store, and he asked me, what school did I go to? So I told him. I told him what school I went to, and it was two schools named that. One was a junior high and the other one was a high school. So I told him that, I told him where I went, but I didn't say the high school or the junior high school. And so he was like, bitch, you don't go there, I go there. And he spit on my face. He spit on my face, and the fellas that was with him laughed, and they thought it was funny. And my cousin, she stood there in sheer total fear. Now, I believe my cousin was terrified of what had happened, and my feelings were so hurt by what had happened. I couldn't believe that someone that looked like me, a male that looked like me, had just spat on my face. And my cousin, my blood cousin, didn't help me defend myself against him at that point. But now I know that it was fear. It was fear that held her back. And it was a good thing, because it was 3 or maybe 4 of them and just us two walking to the store. He spat on my face because he felt like I couldn't attend the high school that he was talking about. But I was in junior high school. And it doesn't even matter. The sheer fact that he spat on my face, it disgusts me. It really does. And I held it together. I held it together, and I walked on. My cousin and I, we walked on, and I bursted out in tears with just she and I, when, once they weren't around. And she didn't realize I was crying. She thought I was laughing. And she was like, oh, I thought you were okay. I thought you were okay. I thought you had busted out laughing just now. And I don't really remember the rest of our conversation. I don't remember it. But I remember being spat on by a black male in my teenage years. So disgusting. So disgusting. Now, I know I'm supposed to be talking about Margaret Prescod, and I just thought that I would share that experience that I had, because she has been fighting for us for years, and the way she fought for those ladies when they were killed by another black person, a black male, whom they probably thought would protect them, but he killed them. And so, it's just kind of why I thought I would share. I was spat on by a black male. So disgusting. And so that's why I thought I would share that. And I am just happy that I found out about her. But the way that I found out about her, through murders and stuff, is unfortunate. But if you could just look up Margaret Prescod and find out about her, you would just see how amazing she is and how many great things that she has done for us as women, especially black women, and the way she has been fighting for us for all these years. And that's how I decided to go and learn about Sojourner Truth, was because of Margaret Prescod. So, you never know what you're going to learn and who you're going to learn it from. And it's nothing wrong with learning new things at an older age either. I don't care. Like, I am going to continue on my journey of learning all that I can about us Like I told you before, I started this journey of learning about our people a few years back. I remember watching the video with the footage of Margaret Prescod, and when she had already had this saying right here, Black women lives matter. Let's say that again. Black women lives matter. Let it sink in. So she already had this saying about our lives mattered over 20 years ago. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? We know Black lives matter, but sometimes Black women could get put in the background. Okay? So I'm going to play the footage of Margaret Prescod. Thank you. Be blessed. Have a great one.
Chief, what do you make of the 14-year gap in all this?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for taking my question. Charlene Muhammad for the Final Call newspaper. Appreciating what you said about the community involvement as well as the family. Is it possible to hear a bit from Margaret Prescod and the work of the family in terms of how they passed out flyers? Or just can you also, as she does, address their role in that?
Sure. You know, what I'll say is that the families have been absolutely instrumental. Ms. Prescod has been instrumental. They have, first of all, they give the detectives motivation. You know, these are long, drawn-out, tedious investigations in which you can lose hope. But that hope is renewed by the family. That hope is renewed by a community that supports this department. Handing out flyers, making sure that the council reward was widely publicized, making sure that people saw these victims as human beings with faces and lives, and not as something other than that. So it's very important.
Can we talk to Detective Kilcoyne?
Can I just add to that? I'm Margaret Prescod, founder of the Black Coalition Fighting Back Serial Murders. For us, it's been since 1985. I have a file here of documents going back to 1985 that were mimeographed. It's a very emotional time for us. Detective Kilcoyne, I'm not going to get up here and attack you. I know that we've been critical, and if we have our man, I'd like to congratulate Detective Kilcoyne and all those who made it possible, and also the family members who have stuck with us, who have come out, and the vigils and handing out flyers, etc. Somebody asked about if there were more victims out there. Many of you know that there have been 3 sets of murders: the Southside slaying, the Strawberry murders, and now this grim sleeper. We know that there's still victims out there. Detective Kilcoyne, I want to make an appeal to the chief and all of the officials here that this task force keep going, because we've seen, hopefully, some justice in this case, but we know that there are other victims out there, there are other families out there suffering. Finally, I want to say to the press and also any officials, please stop referring to these victims as prostitutes. They were women, they were mothers, they were loved by their families and their communities. Imagine a young child turning on the television and hearing their mothers being maligned in this way. So please treat them with that kind of respect, the same respect that that young woman who got killed in Aruba got. These women who are black from South LA deserve the same kind of respect. So I'd like to thank everybody for bringing something.
Can we talk to Detective Kilcoyne again about the gap in murders?
And make no mistake about it, the cold case squad will not be going away. It is 20 detectives strong. You know, we will look at every case.
You know, let me add something to that so that we're clear.